This week, we're talking tracking deer with a dog.
She's obsessed with two things. She's obsessed with finding deer, only wounded, right? She's not going to track random deer. She only tracks that specific deer.
How long should you really wait after a shot?
And that's pretty consistent with livers. I mean, your arrows are usually painted dark red, and we find a lot of liver shots.
Is moving your trail cameras in the rain really the best time?
Going into that conspiracy of, walking in during the rain is the best time to, check your cameras, to move stands, do all that. I think it's a load of BS.
If you're going to call in a dog, don't go grid searching. Welcome back to the Everland podcast. This is episode 5. Real excited today to jump into a fun topic. Not necessarily fun to necessarily be in the spot, but we're going to sit down today with Taylor and talk a little bit about dog tracking. And what is, when you got to call a dog tracker, you're not in a happy spot typically. Your guts are a little spinning and you're trying to figure out what's ways up. So
no pun intended.
Yeah. You might have stuck them in the guts and that's why you need it. It's going to be a fun episode to chat with him, learn a little bit about some of his techniques and all the stuff that he's doing, and when and what to look for when you're out there and all that kind of stuff. So
so we'll bring him in here, and we're actually running late because you got a little hung up this morning.
Yeah. Well, there was a deer.
Mm-hmm. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, like, you had a situation. We're in November, so
yeah, it's November 6th, I think, or something like that.
Yes.
I got pinned down. There was a decent buck. I don't have any history with this deer. I don't know who he was. Just, he's about 65, 70 yards out through
in range.
Within bow range. Just, tending a doe. And so I just had a whole bunch of 1.5-year-old satellite and checking it out, trying to figure it out. And I was really going back and forth if he was a season ender.
You wanted me to tell you, hey, go shoot it.
I bet you we should get the video. I should get the video camera.
You filmed him?
Yeah, I got some film of him. It's terrible because I was moving the camera and the tripod all over in that stinking blind trying to get a good shot of him. And when you see him or the footage that I did take, you'll be like, okay, I get it. I would have sat there too. I really do believe you'll say that.
I got it. That's driving me nuts. I wish you would have given me the SD card before we started this. And
I was late, remember? So now we're late. We're like a half hour late to start and everything. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was definitely a fun hunt, very entertaining. But Lee did twist my arm as much as I hate bouncing deer. Mm-hmm. I was like, he's like, if you're not going to shoot it, just leave. And I'm like,
that was not the sound of my voice. It was we have a podcast to roll out with, and it's just a decision you have to make. Are you prepared to sit there all day? Like I can do a podcast with the guest and we're fine, but are you prepared to sit there all day?
I was. I thought about it. I was like, I can just fast today. It's not a big deal. I do that on a regular. And so I was like, at first I was like, I got no snacks. I got nothing. I was like, I'm not staying here all day. Cause I was like,
drink your coffee already.
I did drink one coffee, but I was like, I can get this figured out and I can stay here. And I was like, I think something else is going to come through here. You know what I mean? Because
hot dough.
Yeah. They come to this river bottom. They're going to check this out and we're either going to have a showdown. We're going to have something fun, but I
got to ask you.
Yeah.
It's your first time hunting that spot on that farm.
Yeah.
Is it gorgeous?
It is.
It's the river.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but there's some downside to that.
Is it the dogs? Because you're closer to the dogs now, right?
No, the dogs weren't a problem this time. The downside was just there's nothing better on November 6th in a morning hunt to be in a tree stand. I really am not enjoying those box blinds. I'm just so cagey animal.
Which that's good about that spot is it has potential. There are actually trees in that spot.
No, 100%. I would put a tree stand literally right next to it just to be in a tree.
Tip it over to take that thing and drag it out.
It might. Yeah. Because that is in tree stands land. There's 4 or 5 trees right there that I was like, I'd rather be in that. I'd rather be in that. Yeah. So,
you missed. That's the downside. There's a lot of benefits of box blinds, but that's not this morning. It was I was sitting there before I even saw anything. I heard, burr.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Here's Dave.
Well, so like I used none of the benefits of the box blind because where that spot is, you can see 360 degrees. And so all the windows are wide open, and a couple of the windows, the glasses, I didn't know because I never physically actually went into that blind before. And so I opened the door and did the
raccoon.
Well, I opened the door, did the inspection this summer, and I was like, no bee's nest, good to go. And so that's all I really did. So 2 of the glass panes are busted. The glass is still in it, but it's cattywampus. And so you can't open the window if you see deer because you're going to, and so they had to be open. And so then it was well, if those ones are open, these ones are going open because I'm just going to be ready. I normally would like to sit in a box blind and have it all kind of can keep your scent contained and all that kind of stuff, but
not in the older ones. Can't do that in the older ones.
No. So it was I was basically just sitting outside and there's a really nice wooden office chair. I'm not sure. It's got the wood handles and the wood feet and all that stuff.
Vintage.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of noise, and so I was.
Every time you take a sip of coffee, it goes.
It wasn't even. I couldn't even move. I was just "This is a core workout. We're just gonna sit here and just pretend like we're not gonna move." So, but no, it was fun to hunt. So I'm excited to get back out there to this.
Are you going to the exact same spot?
No, I don't feel I can get back in there. I bounced deer on the way out, and so I bounced the doe, and I'm I'm just gonna hunt the edges. I don't want to go back all the way in there.
Yeah.
And I want to, but
have you had any deer on that farm consistently go into any of your scrapes or anything now, or are we just?
I got 2 dead cameras.
Yep.
So the ones that were getting hit the most are dead. I'd like to go in there to fix them, but the wind's wrong to go to those spots. So the buck, the number 1 buck left the bedroom at 11:30 last night. So he was going and he crossed the creek at 11:30 last night. So and then on another farm just south of there, we got him 25 minutes later. So I think he's on the south side of town a little bit, but hopefully with that big moon, he kind of maybe moved back. He's back in there.
It was bright this morning.
Huge. You didn't even need to
Yeah,
I could have hunted all night.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but it's coming up pretty late though. When it gets dark for a while, and then the moon comes up.
Last night it was up.
Oh, it was.
It was up.
It was still pretty high this morning.
It's set at 7:30 this morning.
Yeah.
So it was going down at 7:30 tonight. I don't think you'll catch any of it before getting out of the stand. It rises after you leave. And so I actually really that's a whole nother moon phase thing, a whole nother discussion for another day. But I really enjoy this time of year with a setting moon later in the morning because I believe that they come back to bed because I'm hunting mornings now. And so I want them to come back later. And so when the moon rises actually later, if it rises in the middle of the night, then you're going to typically see those deer come back to bed later. And that's easier to slip in behind them and wait for them to come back.
Yeah.
So that's what I've seen is consistent at some form of consistency with the moon.
Yeah. I'm surprised I haven't heard the last couple of days. I haven't heard of that many deer being taken. Normally, we're in the beginning of November, and next thing you know, every day, you're getting text message of hey, so-and-so shot this, so-and-so shot that. I haven't gotten that much yet. I did get a text from the neighbor sending me a picture of Dave on his property. So he's alive. So, I mean, he has a trail camera picture. Thank God. It wasn't here he is dead. Yeah. So it just goes to show that Dave's starting to venture a little bit. Yep, he is.
Yeah. It's a matter of time before you not you, but guys are starting. Guys are starting to get the picture from the neighbor that they didn't really want to get. That's just what's about to happen, and so it's it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't talked about this. Yeah, I had an actual. I would call it an opportunity. You and I showed you the footage, and it's actually eating me up inside. Maybe should have took more advantage of that opportunity, but kind of in the moment too of so I was They cut the corn. Well, first the neighbor, the guy who I have permission to hunt the farm with, called me in the morning and says, "Hey, Dave's out there chasing does and chased off this really other big buck." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting pictures of him. I know. I'm working." He's like, "Oh, he ran the west." I'm like, "Yeah, I figured he's going right back into the swamp where he lives." But then they cut the corn the night before, so I'm like, he's going to go to the corn. He's got to go to the corn because every single other doe is going to go to the corn tonight. Fresh cut cornfield. So I had pretty high hopes I just knew I was going to see him. And long story short, the little buck was behind me, sitting there. He snapped his head over to the left. I'm like, okay, there's deer coming out in the field. The opposite direction where I was thinking Dave was going to come from. And so I kind of look over my right shoulder and I see antlers coming down the fence row. It's like through the trees and right on the edge of the field. And I'm in it's a wide fence row. And I was like, okay, cool, buck's coming. I was looking, I'm like, it doesn't look that big, but I'm like, I'll grab my bow just in case. Grab my bow. And so like I turned to my left, looked away, grabbed my bow, and I was like bringing my bow around the other side of the tree and looked over my right. And all of a sudden Dave, again, this is when I realized it was Dave, was 30 yards from me, running past me. Moving. I'm like, I was originally I'm a saddle hunting, so I'm facing the tree. I was bringing my bow to the right side, saw how fast he was going. I'm like, I can't spin that far around, so I have to go behind me and to the left. So make sure he's not looking at me, bring the bow back to the left, get hung up a little bit, swing over my left shoulder, draw back because he's already going through my window of opportunity, draw back. And which is funny because I told you, I'm like, I gave him like the mat. I gave him the
well, as he's running through cut corn.
Yeah. I'm like post cold right now, so it was like a
blame it on the cold.
My voice my throat wasn't clear. It was a bad mat, and gotcha. Dave went right through my opening, chasing the other buck. And so he went through that opening. I let down. He stopped. I'm like, okay. And his whole demeanor was like, I heard something. I think I heard something. I'm like, surely I was in my head. I can replay this. Like I thought he was coming back into the corn. He was going to come right back through my 30-yard gap. I was ready for it. And then like he stood there for a while. I'm like, I'm going to have to shoot him now. So I was reaching for my rangefinder. I was going to give him a quick range, and then he took off and chasing that buck again. So he was gone for 45 minutes, came back a little bit, about 45 minutes later, and continued to chase bucks around in the field, not doe. He would bump a doe once in a while, but he would just chase bucks around in that field. Yeah, and I just watched him all night long, and he stayed out of range. I thought he left the field. I dropped my bow down to the ground, got my backpack on, and then I heard, I'm like, oh no, what is that? I knew what that was. And I look over to my right, and here comes Dave standing at 40 yards, and he continued to stand there he played around between 30 and 45 yards for an hour as I'm just bear hugging the tree. And I'm just like, this sucks. Texting my dad, I'm like, can you take my side by side out here? Can you come get me? Can you come bust the field? And about an hour later, finally, my dad comes running down the road with the side by side, hauling through the cornfield, and Dave obviously takes off, and I got out. But yeah, that was another Dave encounter. So long live Dave. He's still alive. Tonight's night. I actually don't know how I'm going to hunt him. I have no idea where he's at, what he's doing right now. It's 50-50. So he's either going to go in the cornfield, or there's another tiny, small standing cornfield next to a fresh cut.
I just like the fact that this deer is still like doing like bed to food movement. Like right now, you can just like normally throw that all away. You know what I mean? But
I'm saying what I'm looking at is where do I think he's going to go check does?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's either.
But he's still committed to he's still actually kind of checking does from the bed to food movement. He's not just like going all over the place, just rutting all crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think he's making that transition now.
Okay.
He's making that transition, which leads to why my neighbor is starting to get pictures of him.
Because he's going nuts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we better get Taylor on here.
Yep.
And
Let's talk tracking.
Yeah. So let's bring him up and see where this goes.
All right, Taylor, I appreciate you joining us today. So we are here to discuss tracking, and specifically tracking with dogs. We are a drone company, but still, I think I speak for everybody when I say I still admire, the work with dogs. I think that's really, really cool. And it's kind of like, I don't really enjoy waterfowl hunting that much, but if there's a dog on the scene, I love enjoying watching the dog. So you are the dog tracking man.
I guess so. I didn't think I was going to be. I stumbled into it, and it's been awesome, man. Yeah, we've got 6 years of experience now. This is, the tail end of year 6, and we've been running with it, so it's fun.
Yeah, so let's start out with your beginning journey there then. So, and from what I've seen, you really don't have your traditional dog tracking dog, correct?
No, so Mace is a 8.5-year-old Australian Shepherd. Smartest dog I've ever met. She wears her expression on her face. She's very easy to read. And we got her from the Jay's Sporting Goods parking lot. My wife wanted that breed, and that's what we ended up getting. We ended up getting almost a 2-for-1 deal, because I knew the people that were selling them. It was a accidental full bred litter. So we ended up getting 2. I got 1, and then my wife's cousin got 1 too. And yeah, so basically, as a 1.5-year-old pup, my father-in-law got shot a doe. We were struggling to find blood in an alfalfa field, as most people do. And, we brought the dog out just for shits and gigs, really. Like, just to bring her out and be out in the woods. And I give credit to my wife. She's the one that wants to bring the dogs everywhere. So if she didn't do that night, I don't think I would be here doing this right now. So we go out there. He knew he gut shot it. And as a herd dog, naturally, she wants to stay with our group, right? She's always checking around. She's smelling everything. She's staying within the group. She's watching over us. She kept trying to leave. That entire time we were tracking, she kept trying to leave, and just couldn't figure out why. So eventually I'm like, after 20 minutes of grid searching for blood, I said, you know what, I'm going to follow the dog. Maybe she's onto something. I end up following her for about 100 yards, and I find a drip of blood on a little piece of alfalfa. So of course we call everyone over. I said, yeah, I got blood over here. She found it. That's awesome. We start grid searching the whole area again. Nothing. After about 15, 20 minutes, I end up saying, you know what? She keeps wanting to leave. I'm just going to follow her. Let's go. So I followed her in the dark. She didn't have a collar. I didn't have a good light. I had none of the tracking equipment we got now. And she crossed the 2-track, and then she got onto the neighbor's piece. And as soon as you get to the neighbor's piece, there was a split in the trail. I had no idea where the dog went. Like, she was way out ahead of me. And I checked both sides of the trail looking for blood. And on the left side, there's a branch, an overhang, and there was a drip of blood on the bottom side of that branch. So I end up following that along. 30 yards later, she's there looking on the doe. So just an absolute fluke. And then from there, we decided the rest of the season, I ended up doing a couple more tracks for friends and family. She did awesome. Then as a 2.5-year-old dog, I want to say deer, so I'm always talking about age of deer. When she was just over 2, we then did the same thing. We just did it for friends and family, and she was killing it. She was doing awesome. And then after that, we were now in year 6 of full time.
Right on. So what's the dog's name?
Mace.
Mace. Does Mace have formal training, or did you do any additional stuff, or you just let her rip?
None. We just let her rip. The only issue we run into every year is that she gets kind of fat. So like the youth hunt is usually I got to keep a lot of water on me. She got to lose a couple of lbs, but then about a week and a half into bow season, she's on point. She's a little more in shape. She got some cardio to her, and so we don't do any formal training at all. I know a lot of people do.
Yeah.
not one bit. She has a natural knack for it.
Even after that first recovery, you said you started doing it with friends and family, and like, okay, like she just knew what she was doing. Like after that first time, you're like, oh, you congratulate, said good job, and she just, I mean, that just clicked with her, and she knows now. Obviously, now 6 years later or whatever, like she shows up and she knows what she's doing and what her job is doing.
Exactly. And then it's the weirdest thing because she's obsessed with two things. She's obsessed with finding deer, only wounded, right? She's not going to track random deer. She only tracks that specific deer. And she's obsessed with her ball. Like obsessive. You can see it in her eyes when you pull one of those chuck it balls out. My God, like her eyes just dilate and she is focused. And she does the exact same thing when she tracks.
Wow, that's cool. You touched on something there that I kind of want to dive into a little bit. You said specifically she tracks the wounded deer. I guess as like how I want to know, like how is that possible? Like I've seen trackers in Africa tracking specific tracks, and I don't know how that's possible that they do. But like when a dog tracks a wounded deer, so like what are they actually tracking?
So I know the gist of it. I wish I knew more science behind it, but it's the interdigital gland in their hoof. A deer that is hit mortally wound, like it's actually on its way to its deathbed, is going to give out that scent that's so much stronger than just your typical deer, right? You can see a deer and it takes off and it might put a little adrenaline out, who knows, but the scent is so strong from a deer that just got hit in the liver and takes off and goes 500 yards that we do new, like what was it, last night we did a track that we had blood at impact, and then we went 200 yards and found that deer dead. There was no other blood. So that gland is so strong for a dying deer that's exactly what she picks up on.
So that I don't know how many tracks I've been on with dogs. It's probably a handful. So but I've yet to being on one where we recovered. And so,
really?
Yeah. And so like, I've always chalked that up as the deer wasn't dead because of what I've heard. A couple of my other buddies, are dog trackers and stuff like that. And like, and they're the ones that were on the track with me, and they're like, it's just not a dead deer. And that's why the dog's not getting on it and all that kind of stuff. So that's your opinion then too?
She'll tell me in the first 2 minutes if that deer's dead or not. By her body language, by the way she reacts to the track. There's numerous times where we end up on, well, if the conditions are right. I got to say that. Our first track of the year, conditions were awful, and she didn't pick up on it, and it was a dead deer. But as long as the conditions are good, cool temps, moisture on the ground, and you have impact, you got a little bit of blood, regardless of what that blood is, she will say it right away. If she'll follow the blood, but once the blood stops, if she stops, deer's fine.
So that leads me to another question though, because you just said she'll tell me within like 2 minutes. So I got to imagine you've showed up on a track in the last few years, knowing that it's not a dead deer, and and you're like, we should just go home, and because it's not a dead deer, and the people are like, you're just gonna leave, or do you not leave? Do you pretend? Like, do you pretend to track it for a little bit? Like, what do you do? How do you convince them that you know?
You can't pull all my secrets out of my bag. So sometimes we'll entertain it as long as the blood goes, and then we'll usually check spots where the deer should go to die. We'll check straight lines for a general distance. We'll check water features. We'll do our part to make sure we're always out there for at least a half hour, 45 minutes, just to confirm. But then usually when she tells me it's not dead and she starts getting squirrely and running around and looks at me like, we both know, like she gives me that look like, hey, we're just out here playing.
Where's my ball?
I'm always honest. Yeah, so give me my ball. I'm always honest with the hunter. There's a lot of tracks that we do where they say, yeah, I hit him in the shoulder, or, I think I was too high, too low. And I'll say, well, our success rate for shoulders is god awful.
Yeah.
It's horrible. But then I'll say, it's completely up to you. She'll tell me in the first couple of minutes what she thinks, and then we'll check the blood. We'll see the details in the blood, and we'll give it a shot. And a lot of hunters are very responsive to that, because they get it. I mean,
they've all been there before.
As long as you're transparent with people and tell them, like, the dog should tell me right away. And we've been wrong, but also it's usually the deer that don't die right away. They die 2, 3, however long days later from infection, or that arrow stuck in them and finally starts, ripping that second lung because it's still stuck in there. Like, we usually do a pretty good job. If that deer runs to a deathbed or is going to die from a gut shot within 24 hours, we're usually finding that deer.
So how many recoveries do you think on average you do a year?
Total tracks or recoveries?
Total tracks.
Both.
Total tracks, right now we're at 28 for the year. We're usually anywhere between 30 and 40. I don't want to say I'm pretty selective. I'm selective. I mean, we're spending a lot of time. We're gone all the time. My wife thinks I'm constantly hunting, but I'm not. I'm out tracking other people's deer. Like last night, I got home at 1 a.m. We did 2 tracks, and then to hopefully get up and hunt in the morning doesn't happen. So I know some trackers they'll do a couple hundred in a season.
Wow.
Like, they'll run a couple of different dogs, and then they'll do it all day long. They'll do 4 or 5 tracks a day and get after it. And honestly, if you're going to make a living and make money doing it, that's the way to do it. But then you're going to sacrifice your family life, your home life. Those people don't hunt because there's just no time. And I'm a hunter first. So
So the reason I asked that is because, like, you have a lot of, you've seen a lot over the last few years. So, like, I feel like you have a pretty good grasp on, like, when a person hits a deer in a certain location, I think you've seen it enough to actually give, like, good insight to everybody that is like, okay, so let's break down, like, high shoulder shots compared to liver to maybe one lung. Like, what is, like, average distances? Like, how long should a person actually wait? Let's say they can't get a dog in there per se to get a track on it. Like, how with each scenario, like, how long should a person actually wait to pursue the trail?
That's a great loaded question. I mean, we could talk about that just only for a podcast, for 3 podcasts. So we'll start with shoulders or like high briskets, not brisket, high back straps. They're kind of the same. Okay. It can't be the same. So if it's a back strap or a brisket, you're going to have a lot of blood early. You'll probably have blood at impact. A lot of people are getting clean pass-throughs. Their arrow looks great. They're like, oh, I got lots of blood on my arrow. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's like, I don't care how much you have. I care about the color. I care about if there's like liver grainy matter, or if it stinks like gut, or if you've got bubbles. Those are the things that as a hunter you want to know, and as a tracker especially, you really want to know. Backstrap's going to bleed quite a bit. You're going to have blood up high. You're going to have bright red blood compared to dark. That muscle up top is going to bleed pretty bright. And then you'll follow that for 200-300 yards and she'll peter out. And then the exact same thing with brisket, except you're going to have dark blood. You won't have any grain matter in it, but it'll be dark. You'll probably have some fat on your arrow. I see that a lot. You'll have some fat on the arrow. It'll be dark blood. And then your blood will be more dripping down than on anything else. And then same thing, 200-300 yards and it plugs up and they're good to go. The dog, like I said, she'll track it for as long as you have blood. Last night we did one that I think is probably brisket. We found chunks of fat. We did the longest track we've ever done because we jumped him once at about 3/4 of a mile in. And we thought, if it is a one lung shot, maybe we'll push him enough to get him bedded again, get another arrow in him. We ended up going 2.8 miles. Ooh. I've never gone that far before, but we were out there. We were already hauling balls through it. I mean, we had an absolute beautiful blood trail. Couldn't miss it. And we ended up giving up on it because it looked like it wasn't fatal. So those are typically highs, lows, shoulders. They're all over the place. If you're calling me because you hit a shoulder, your deer could easily die depending on if that arrow popped out or not. If your arrow's broken off in there, if you're not, a lot of people get lodged in the back shoulder. And if that happens, the deer's fine. If it doesn't, then that's when we see the deer die a couple days later from that arrow working its way out and ripping some extra stuff out. Then you'll get bubbles. You'll get, a lot of times you don't have your arrow. Those three are our least successful. I hate hearing them. I hate taking them, but we'll still take them for people that they feel really confident. They just want to make sure. They're like, yep, I want to make sure I'm not leaving a dead deer out in the woods. I respect the hell out of people that do that because they're paying a good premium for us to be out there, and they're okay with it because, they figured out that the dog thinks it's okay. You guys have any questions about those?
No, I'd say those are pretty
Okay.
pretty on par with what I was thinking. I was always the in my younger days, knock on wood, hopefully I'm still not that guy. Actually, well, 2 years ago I did it. I was the high. I always shot high. It's always like right below the spine, kind of like backstrap area in the AKA no zone. And like to your point, like I would not get a pass through up there. There would be fat on it. And like at first, again, blood at impact, you're like, also it gives you that false hope. And you're like, yes, like I'm getting lucky. Like I wasn't a great shot, but I'm going to get it. And then, like you said, like at 200 yards, it just peters out and you're like, oh no. But I do respect the fact that you still go out there to give people reassurance. Cause I think that's like, honestly, even if you're having that internal battle, like that ease of like, okay, this deer is not dead. I've done everything I can to do it. I have a lot of respect for people. And I think that's why people appreciate this type of stuff. Cause like, there's nothing worse than laying in bed and saying, man, is that deer dead? Like, is it going to show up on trail camera again? Like that it's not a good feeling that you wounded an animal, but it's also a good feeling saying, okay, that animal's going to make it.
Yeah, knowing that you've done everything you can to go find it. You've exhausted all your resources. You've brought in somebody else. You've taken the time. You've grid searched some stuff. You've looked around. I was, for a while there, I referred to myself as the shoulder king. Like I was just a professional hitter of the shoulder. And so, I mean, I shouldered like, I don't know, I think it was like $4 in a row. And they were like, all of them were like my best buck ever, type of thing. And I'm just punching them in the shoulder. And it was just like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. And I got like really good at like identifying shoulder shots though. And so I was like, when people like show me their arrow and I'm like, yeah, you hit it in the shoulder, dude. Like, just and they're like, you're not even going to go look. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to stink up his bedding area. He's going to be here tomorrow. And they're like, you got to go look. And so like, there is that give and take, you know what I mean? Where like somebody's like, no, you need to be in there and doing everything you can. And it's like, well, if you have like an inch and a half of penetration and your broadhead's just gone, and you hit him in the shoulder, like that's not a dead deer. You're not going to find that deer. You know what I mean? Like I've never found one of those deer. I've never seen anybody find one of those deer. So like, it's like, I'm just getting out of here and taking my arrow and putting it in my quiver and walking home, like, so, but it is that like give and take. And that's where I was leading into that original question, not to go back to that, but like where some people are like, I've heard dog trackers go like, well, this isn't a dead deer. And they're like, I was with somebody and they were like, no, we're going to look for this deer. And he's like, it's not a dead deer. And I know Eric, and I know he like has done thousands of tracks. He's one of the gentlemen that does thousands of tracks a year. He goes out to like out west tracking elk and all that stuff. He just picks up his mobile camp and moves all over the place. And that's a crazy lifestyle. Yeah. But like, he's just like, it's not a dead deer immediately. And somebody close to me was arguing with him that it was a dead deer. And I was like, I'm sorry, bud, it's not.
Yeah, that is wild. It's cool that you, for one, that's what I appreciate so much about people using dogs for work, and that bond and that relationship that you've established, like, and you know your dog, and she instantly you guys can feed off each other and you can read her saying like, yeah, no, that deer is not dead, or yeah, that deer is dead. Let's go and get it.
Yeah. So, but
Exactly.
So I don't want to derail off of what Lee was asking about. So let's go back further on the body of the animal. Obviously, we know liver, or we know lungs, lung hits, and all that stuff.
Well,
but let's just go single lung and then liver.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the single lung, because we'll get into this, but I'm curious on that.
We don't have much success with single lungs. I know a lot of people do, but I think the ones who do really well have dogs that can bay. They chase a single lung down, they finally catch up to it, and then they've got dogs that can, circle it, get it to hold in a spot, and then they follow up with another shot. I know Rob Miller does that downstate, and his content's awesome. He's got a great following, and they're able to do that, and that's amazing. But Mace doesn't do that. I mean, he probably could have been taught to do it at some point, but she doesn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So single lungs are.
Yeah. So is it? I've always been told a single lung hit. Some of the times it is better to push that. If you think it's a single lung deer, to push that deer and continue to keep on that deer, and you're more than likely, not to say more than likely, you have a better chance at recovering that deer on a single lung by pushing it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you're hopefully, bleeding out that lung, deflating it. Hopefully that if it's a single lung, that means the arrow's probably still in there. If it's not, then, you're still trying to push that adrenaline through that deer, trying to get the blood pumping, hoping to deflate that lung enough for it to get exhausted. If it's exhausted, then hopefully you can get a follow-up shot, because usually they're not dying. They're so worked up, especially right now, but they're usually not dying, but usually you can catch up to them. I mean, I want to say usually. Hopefully you can catch up to them and put another arrow in them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so one lung, you hit one lung deer, you can't get a dog, push it.
Run and bark, Lee. Right? Run and bark and chase that sucker down the whole way. I mean, my one lung experience, dude, I have to kind of share it, is like, it was hands down. It was right around the corner. I stuck this deer, thought I'd absolutely drilled it. He literally just went dunk and took like one big jump and just stood there. I watched that deer for hours, just stand there, and I could not get another arrow in him, and I did not want to spook him. And so I technically don't know if it was like a one lung or whatever, but that was a messed up situation where when I got the deer, one of his lungs was completely just destroyed and shredded, and he was dead. I did find him, I did recover him, but it took him like 8 hours to die. And I literally just watched him, and he just was like walking very sick, and like I thought he was going to die, and I was too afraid to bump him at the point in time, like knowing that he never moved. I guarantee, or no, I don't guarantee, but I have a feeling that had I actually scared him, he probably would have just ran and piled up and died, because he just didn't move, so he didn't use his lungs, so he wasn't, he was just sitting there gasping for air, trying to stay alive.
Yeah,
Did you end up flipping liver on that at all? Do you know?
I don't
remember that. No, because
usually that's the sign of smash one lung, clip liver. Because then they'll bed up pretty quick, and that's when you don't push them. If you clip any of that liver, then you let them lay, and you can smash that one lung, clip liver, and he's still gonna die.
Yeah, that's I've had when I guided, and I'll never forget this, when I guided it in Iowa. We did Iowa and Missouri out of the same lodge, and so I would gut a lot of deer and skin a lot of deer, especially during this time of year. I remember ripping open a deer and seeing one of the lungs was black and completely like shriveled up around a broadhead inside that lung. I'm like, that deer, who knows how long it was living like that, but it was legitimately living off of one lung.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that yet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not for that. Not for the guy who put the broadhead there.
Yeah, the first guy who was the first shot.
Yeah. All right, so now let's get into a little bit of liver talk here. This is I feel like liver is a very, I don't want to say it's controversial, but I hear a lot of different opinions on liver.
So liver, gut, or a hard quarter, lung, liver, gut are our favorite shots. We'll take those all day long. Liver is, it's going to be dark. You're going to have grainy matter in it. You look at little pieces of rice that are in that shot. And I can't tell you how many deer that we have found from a liver shot that are right at that 500-yard mark. I mean, within 10, 20 yards of 500 yards, that's usually where they lay up. You're supposed to give them 4 to 6 hours during the regular season. During the rut, you almost want to double that time. But that deer, no matter what, it's just where and when. And people say they J-hook. People say they take weird lines. Most deer that we find usually take a pretty straight line. If anything, they'll start veering off one way or the other, depending on what they're trying to get to. But usually on the liver, they have enough drive and enough time to either go back to a known bedding area that they like, or they'll get to like a creek or the edge of a pond and lay up with the wind in their favor. And that's pretty consistent with livers. I mean, your arrow is usually painted dark red, and we find a lot of liver shots.
That's interesting to me that you say they don't, like, most of the time you say that they travel a straight line to where they want to go. I would say most of the time that's happened to me, but last year specifically, I guess it was kind of liver in one lung. Hit a deer in Indiana, that deer there actually. And, it made, I don't know how this is possible. He made a very long and slow loop, somehow, got past me when I was in my stand again.
It's just now I'm okay.
Well, I mean, if you saw me after I shot a deer, you would understand how.
I'm just trying to. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I black out. Okay,
right.
So
I've been told to calm down. I've had somebody stop the truck and make me get out and tell me to calm down after I've killed the deer. So I get it. Yeah. I get it. I'm just laughing at you.
And half of me thinks that the deer did this, like, so I got out pretty fast. Like, well, no, I didn't even say I got fast. I checked my arrow. I hit the deer. The deer was walking away and it was like shaking its tail and like kind of hunched up. I'm like, the deer's sick, liver. Obviously I'm gonna get a lab. I'm curious. I gotta go look at my arrow at least. Checked my arrow and then walked out. Long story short, when we went to tracking it, thermal drones are legal in Indiana to recover deer. We had our drone with us. We popped it up and we found the deer. I'm like, like that's not where I was expecting it to be. And like, I didn't put any reference to where it was, like actually in the woods. Walked out to the woods, found the deer, and I'm like, my tree stand's 40 yards right there. How did this happen? When I shot it, it ran away from me. And then when we found it, at some point, he circled all the way around and died on the other side of my tree stand. That was wild. Wow. So I don't know if this deer was like walking really slow just the whole time, and like I was able to slip out, and then he just came walking back in. But yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, only time I see that is usually when someone's like, I know for a fact he beds in this general area, right? You never know an exact buck bed, but they have that core area they want to get to. Maybe the wind was in the favor to keep going that direction. Who knows? Like, I mean, you can only just take your best guess. But
I was embarrassed by it.
I was embarrassed.
I was like, because like all my friends, my buddies were sitting there looking at me. And they're like, your stand's right there. I'm like, I know. I don't know. I don't know how this happened, but
he probably just wandered super slow and made, like you said, made his way back in there after you were gone. You know what I mean? Like if he just walked really slow.
Can you imagine sitting there and then seeing your buck walk back to you? Like, I guess I'm gonna shoot him again.
I just told you about my brother this year. My brother killed that buck this year. He stuck one. My brother killed one 2 weeks ago. Stuck it in the guts. And he's literally praying. He was like, Lord, I know that was a terrible shot. He texts my dad. He's like, I know it's a terrible shot. Just pray that the Lord brings that buck, like we find that buck. 15 minutes later, that buck comes running back through chasing a doe. And he stuck it again. Yeah. Yeah. He stuck it. Yeah.
In the neck.
In the neck. And then the next day. Yeah, never mind. But yeah, no, he seriously, like, I've never heard of that. That was a first for me for sure. Like I've never heard of somebody sticking one and then getting another arrow in it, like as it's still rutting around. So, and as early as it was in the year.
The worst part is, like, there's always you see so many tracks, and there's never an exact playbook on how to go about it. And that's the worst part. I hate that with a passion, because you think, oh, yep, 500 yards, straight line. No, you got one that hooks all the way around. You got one that shot in the guts, takes off, and comes right back. Like, there's no actual rhyme or reason, but there's always like the generals, what you need to check and what usually happens.
It's the
And
same
then you
thing
hear about a crazy story.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with a deer when a deer's actually alive. It's like, oh, this is the playbook of how to kill that deer. Well, I can tell you firsthand right now that I'm hunting a deer that there's no playbook.
There's no playbook.
Yeah,
there never has been.
Yeah,
burn it.
Everything is different.
We just make stuff up as we go.
Yeah. So it kind of leads me to my next question of like, so when somebody hits a deer and they're like, I'm going to need help tracking that, do you recommend, like, I can tell you one, I'm sure the number one answer is like, you tell a person not instantly just back off the trail and don't pursue that animal. So like, how long, when a person thinks that they need a dog, obviously the first thing they're going to call you, what do you usually tell them? Like, is there a time that you like to give a certain animal, a set amount of time, or what's a process?
So it's all shot dependent. So if it's a high, low, shoulder, we'll go right away, just because we know it's either that deer's dead usually right away, or it's not dead at all. If it's liver, we usually like to give 4 to 6 hours. So if you shoot it in the morning, we'll be there late afternoon or after dark. Shoot it at night, maybe we'll wait till the next morning. Guts, for sure waiting 12 hours. No matter when you shoot it, we're waiting 12, because you have to give them time to die with a gut shot, even though you can end up in a gut shot rodeo and, get really tight to them and try to put another arrow into them, because they become zombie deer after a certain point.
Gut shot rodeo. I like that.
I was trying to picture what that is in my head.
Oh, I figured it out. I figured
I'm getting a t-shirt made.
It's where they're hunching and they're doing the thing and they're going around in circles. I can. Yeah, it's a good. I like his. Yeah, you should make a t-shirt. Yeah. The arrow sticking out of it.
Yeah.
Call it the gut shot rodeo.
With a hunchback.
Yeah. I'm trying to do the hunchback.
Just a big old frame of a buck with a hunchback and an arrow split right through it with a gut shot rodeo.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. Lee reminded me of the point I'm supposed to get to again.
I don't even know.
The
gut shot rodeo got me.
He was talking. We were talking about like the duration and the length that you're telling the people, like how long you're gonna wait.
Yeah. So basically, that's the duration and the times. Basically, there's charts out there for people to look at. There's like the DeerCast app. That's pretty good on shot placement and details. But then what I tell people is the only time that you don't go track at all is a known gut shot. Don't even go out there. Don't touch her. I mean, maybe go grab your arrow, but don't take a step out there. I'll say, if you want to find that deer, it's probably not going to bleed that well most of the time, because usually you're pulling guts out the backside. Don't go after that deer. But then if any other shot, my advice is always to go try to recover that arrow, take pictures of it, take videos of it, analyze the crap out of that thing, look at the first 50 to 100 yards of blood. Because if you start seeing spraying, keep going. If you only see, pin drops, if you only see just a little bit of blood, if you see dark blood, analyze that first about 50 to 100 yards, depending on what you're getting into. Like if you're just outside of a bedding area, and you shoot one, immediately bolts in the bedding area, and you can only see 40 yards, don't go into the bedding area. Make sure that you still do a little bit of tracking, but then if you're going to have a dog come out, stay right on that main trail, and like your boot scent's going to move it around, right? You're going to step on it, you might crush it a little bit, but follow that main trail and either stay off to the side or stay on it, and do not grid search. As soon as you decide that you're going to walk down that trail and you take it for 100, 150 yards, and then you're like, well, it ran out, I don't know what to do. And then you start grid searching, and you've got 2 or 3 buddies with you, and you all walk the same trail, and you get to the end of the blood, and then all of a sudden you start spacing out and gridding. That just became a giant pool, an umbrella of scent for the dog to then pick out where the hell that deer went afterwards. And that is the number one thing that we hate it with a passion, because then I can't tell you how many times we go on a blood trail where someone says, yep, I tracked him for 200 yards. And then I think it's a liver shot, tracked him for 200 yards. And then the blood just got really spotty and they couldn't find anything. But a couple of my buddies were out and we started looking, we grid searched, and we can't come up with nothing. Can you come out? I'd be like, yep, we can figure it out. We get to that 200-yard mark, and all of a sudden the dog starts getting all squirrely. She'll run around. She starts following all these different trails, different tracks. And then I usually look over and say, is this where you lost blood? And they're like, oh, yeah. Actually, it was about 5 yards back behind us. I said, I can tell because the way that she reacts to it. But then a lot of times, if that deer is dead, she'll piece through it and then pick up the track wherever that deer, got past that scent pool that we're in. So that's probably my number one and number two, 1A, 1B, is track your deer a little bit. Because the worst part is when you think you have a bad shot and all of a sudden you've got a double lung that just didn't open up for some reason and it starts spraying afterwards. Go grab your deer. You don't need us for that. But then if you don't find the right sign, you don't see them tip over, you definitely hit them in the guts, then those are my tips.
So with staying with the timelines thing, how long is too long after a hit to call you a dog in?
We've done one 36 hours after.
Okay. And that
typically,
was recovery?
I like to stay within, I typically like to stay within 24.
Okay.
Yep. But it's all conditions dependent too. If you've got, like right now, if you were to get a little bit of rain and we've got these 40, 50-degree temps, that scent should stay there for a while.
Let's dive into that a little bit, because like what is it about? I think a lot of people, I mean, this kind of goes hand in hand with like how you treat your property and how you're walking on your property and how deer use that to smell you. Why are you laughing at me?
No, it's good. I don't know. I'm just chuckling, dude. I'm still thinking about the deer hooking behind your tree stand and you just sitting there. Sorry. Why are you laughing at me? My bad.
So like, how does it, like, what are the conditions that maintain scent? I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. And like, how does the dog's nose work?
So cooler temps, anything that would like evaporate, like if you were to take a spray bottle, right, and just mist some water on the grass, on some leaves, right, you'll be able to tell right away if it starts evaporating, if it's going to stay there. So anything that's cooler temps and a little bit of moisture, right after and during a rain, we've had great success, because some people say that eventually if you get enough rain, it's going to wash the scent away, right? But also we've done some where we're in the middle of a downpour and we've done some of our best tracks then. So I don't think I'm a believer in the scent truly washing away. I think it's just whenever it decides to evaporate. I mean, the dog's nose, I mean, it's hard to put an actual number and content behind that, right? Mm-hmm. She's gonna work as long as there's a scent trail, as long as there's blood or that interdigital gland going off. If it's there, she'll find it. I can't tell you how many times we just show up to a shot site with good conditions and she gets started right away. I'll say, hey, did that deer take off that way? And you're like, yeah, actually, yeah. So good, because that's where she wants to go. Not because we were told that you start here, you have a shot here, and you went this direction. That scent's naturally there. So as long as the scent's down, she should be doing just fine.
And the reason I brought that up is because, like, everybody tells you if you need to move a trail camera or you need to hang a stand, do it in a rain. But that goes to the point of like the moisture is what's holding that scent. So like, to me, that's like kind of counter of like, well, no, actually, technically you're making your scent, like you're giving your scent a place to be captured and sit there.
I've heard it two ways, because it's all about the evaporation. And so when you have a big heavy rain, and then typically on that back end of that big heavy rain, you have that drier, cleaner, high pressured air that follows behind it. And so that's what's actually going to evaporate it out of there. Okay. And so that's what's getting rid of your scent. But to his point, you go and walk through your yard and you go do a bunch of circles out there, and then you let your dog go out in the yard. She's going to follow your boot tracks, even if it's in the pouring rain. You know what I mean? And so like, And that's why, like we talk about, setting up your property is making sure that there are areas that you do not walk through. Like today, I walked through a food plot. I can't stand doing that. That property has very limited access to it, and it's just like, well, this is what we got to do. But like going in for a morning scent to get to the timber, I got to walk through that thing, and it's like, man,
how many deer did you map out this morning?
I don't want to talk about it. Gosh, why do you gotta ask me things like that? I had to leave a buck tending a doe, and then we're gonna talk about that. We're talking about deer tracking or dog tracking right now. Come on.
I think that's a huge topic. I planned on actually, I don't know who I was going to bring on and talk about it, but on the podcast that I guess I'd say running, I guess.
Yeah, plug yourself.
I plan on, yeah. So through the fall podcast, Aaron Blicey gave me my own little mini series, which is pretty sweet. It's called Last Blood, and I put a mic on myself, I put a mic on the hunter, and then we just go tracking. And every question, every detail, it's made to be like a story, and it's meant to be
raw,
informational. Yeah, it's raw emotion, it's raw everything. You're that third person. You're the one who gets to stand back at the last blood spot, and you get to hear everything that's happening. So kind of bring everyone on the hunt, that the excitement that Mason and I get when we actually recover a deer, and the high fives, the hugs, the everything, you get to be a part of that too, even though you have no idea who the person is, and it's just super exciting to help people find deer. So yeah, this is the first season doing that. We've got a couple episodes out, and I've got a whole load of 20 some tracks worth right now to try to piece together a couple more podcasts here before the end of the season.
Are any of them Aaron's?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. I want to listen to that episode. Yeah. Censored.
Let me see. One from this year?
No, he hasn't killed
a couple years back.
Yeah.
No, we didn't have the mics in. So we talked about it before. But no, we won't be able to air that full detail.
So now get back into what you were gonna leak on your podcast, but you're gonna do it on ours now.
I am. I'm gonna leak it. So going into that conspiracy of walking in during the rain's the best time to, check your cameras, to move stands, do all that. I think it's a load of BS. Like you're leaving a scent pool that's so much stronger than if you were to go in on a hot, dry day.
Mm-hmm.
Like your scent's going to evaporate immediately compared to you going on a rain. If you're going in on October 18th and the rut's not started yet, but you're like, oh, it's raining today, I'm not going to sit in my stand, but I'm going to go move some cameras and do that. I think you're doing more damage. I really do.
Sure.
You're educating your deer on what trails you're taking, even though, like you're saying, how, should I be, there's certain areas you don't walk into no matter what.
Yeah.
But if you have to, if you're going in because you're like, oh, my bedding area camera's dead. Well,
I'm just not going though.
I want that intel.
I'm just not going. Like I'm that guy that just won't go. Like I walked right past the dead camera today. Like I'm just not gonna touch it because I don't want to bounce a deer. Like I don't care. They're in there. It's like I'm gonna go hunt.
Yeah, I don't have that self control.
There's
a camera right now that I'm like next opportunity. I gotta move it.
I'm this close to just. I think maybe next year if we still have the same 40, next year we're running no cams. We're going to do a whole farm with no cameras and just go out and just go see what's up, dude.
Yeah, I know a lot of people doing that now, and they're probably much healthier than I am right now.
How much more enjoyable will it be to just like age that deer on the fly, not have a whole bunch of intel on them, and all of a sudden just be like, that's sick. You know what I mean? Like I'm so good with it.
I'm highly enjoying monitoring Dave.
I'm going to kill Dave soon. Just
less stressful that way.
What's that?
I think it's so much less stress if you do it that way. You run no cams. You just have no expectations except for what tickles you pink, and then you shoot something.
Mm-hmm.
But on property that you own or you lease, and you want to know because you want to shoot that top percentile of buck.
But that's where it's like if you're just managing for age class though, and you're just like, I'm not going to shoot anything unless it's a mature 4.5-year-old deer, and you just really, really are disciplined, and it just doesn't matter. Yeah, it would be a bummer though when you got that 5.5-year-old just stunner and you have no idea and you still shoot the 4.5-year-old and go blow it all out. But if you don't have cameras, you won't know you blew it all out, and so you'll just be, and you'll just go home and it'll be peaceful, and then the neighbors will be like, "Well, you didn't see this one on camera?" You'd be like, "Nope, but I got a reason to go hunting again."
Yeah.
Well, actually, I almost shot a 2-year-old earlier this week.
Oh, nice.
Because in that blind we were talking about, because he looked all rutted up and it was getting dark and he looked beautiful. Like, but I'm glad I didn't shoot him, because now I know exactly what not to shoot, because we had trail camera photos and videos of him on the neighbors and on mine early in the year where he's got a skinny little neck, he's got no sag to his belly, and he's a beautiful looking deer that we all planned on passing. And I almost killed him because he looked great on the hoof. He looked heavy, but them all rutted up makes him look way different.
Yeah.
But now I got it in the back of my head where I'm not doing that because we had that intel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're almost the opposite right now, because last time, 2 nights ago, when I saw Dave, I was like, "Man, you've been in the gym. You're looking pretty skinny."
He's been running around. Well, that deer does laps, dude. That farm, I don't know how big that farm is, but you're like, you got him on this camera, this camera, this camera. I'm like, dude.
He's literally just running.
He's not that old man yet where he's just sitting back in one little bedroom. He is just out there.
He's an ultra marathon
I
runner.
do believe my theory on that deer is that this is his first year of being like full-on dominant, and he is king of that whole turf. And so he is just, I'm going to own this thing right now. That's what I think. This is what he's doing.
Oh.
But so back to tracking. If somebody calls you in and you got somebody, I'm just going with a curveball question here. Sorry.
Yes.
You got somebody that you just don't want to deal with. What do you do?
Oh man.
Besides screen their call.
No. You don't know. You don't know. You don't want to deal with them until you show up in person. It's happened.
Then we just we do it, and so usually I don't have that problem. I have the problem where someone calls me and they give me the details, and I'm like, I don't want to go to that. Whether it's like too far away, whether it's horrible, they tracked it for 800 yards already, like. I use different tactics where either I say, "Oh, we're not available, we got a different track," or sometimes I'll shoot to the moon on price, and if they want to pay it, then we'll go. I mean, time is money sometimes, and the majority of what we do is not for money. I mean, like I said, we charge a good premium, but because we take quality tracks most of the time, and usually we're helping people. But yeah, on occasion, I get a few of those every year where there's 2 or 3 where I'm like, one, I don't think your deer is dead, and I'm already transparent with you. And they're like, "No, that deer's dead. That deer's dead for sure." Okay, well, and you're making me drive 45 minutes one way. That's fine, but we're going to do it for X amount of money. And if you really want us to come out there, we'll give it a good hour and see what we can come up with. And people are like, "Yeah, sure." So it's hard. It's hard because you want to help everyone, and you can't. There's not enough time in the day. But then, yeah, you'll get some whack jobs. I had one last year that was a crazy story that I thought this guy was going to murder us. Took us out in the middle of state land.
Wow.
We were a mile back in. I think I told that story on either Blyce's or Josh Tanner's podcast, one of the two. Yeah, dude. I named that guy. I can't remember I have a name in my head to what his real name is, but I don't know if it's the alias or his real name. I can't remember.
Say it so that way if he listens to this.
No, I don't want to. Maybe some murder.
There's not a chance. This dude is like 6'4", old man, didn't talk, stomped his way through the woods, kept his head down.
He stinks.
Weird.
Stinks.
Weird. And I thought that luckily there was me, there was my dad, and I had my wife with me too. I'm like, great.
Oh.
We got to the point where my stepdad's in front of me. And we're just walking, and like, we're so confused on what the hell's happening. We're so far in, and I didn't ask the guy yet, how much further, because eventually, you think you're gonna, or he would say something. You're like, "Oh yeah, we're 150 yards from the stand." No, the dude didn't say nothing. So we're all creeped out, and my stepdad's in front of me. So we stop for a second, and I go and I pat his front pocket, and I pat his other front pocket, checking to see if he's got a pistol on him.
Oh wow, you were feeling him up.
Yeah.
Not the guy, his dad,
No.
his stepdad.
Oh,
no
dad.
wonder you're about to get murdered in the bushes. You go touching the guy's front leg.
That is bold. That's like not even talking to him like, hey, how you
guy,
doing?
hey, you got any guns on you?
Okay.
No, I pat my dad. He's always got his pistol on him. And I pat his front pocket, and he looks back at me. He's like, I know. I'm like, why did you have it on you? So yeah, dude, that was a crazy track. We ended up finding that deer. It was insane, but we were like 1.3 miles in to state land in the middle of nowhere in a nasty swamp.
With a Sasquatch.
Just a creep.
Just
a creep.
with
Yeah,
a
with a
Sasquatch.
A mute Sasquatch.
Yeah. So we don't get
Do
those
most
too often.
Sasquatch talk?
Yeah, they have that like yodel thing.
A mute Sasquatch. They don't talk.
You don't know.
You don't know. I've talked to a couple. They just make... All right.
Yeah. So when I guess like I want to dive into a little bit now. Let's get a little controversial of like obviously this industry. There's been a big shift into drones, the thermal drone market. Take it or like hate it, it's here to stay. It's not legal here in Michigan, so like lucky for you and your dog. But I guess what's your input on that? You obviously you have a drone business, so you appreciate drone technology. So like how does that go and play with you specifically, I guess, really, because you deal with both?
Yeah, I am 100% in favor of it. I mean, it's just another tool in the toolbox, right? A dog is an awesome tool, and we can't track down a brisket shot and give you confirmation of life most of the time. With a thermal drone, you can get up top, you get into like an open CRP field or something you can see, and then you see an actual shot placement. You see a deer that looks alive and healthy, and then you still do the same job, right? You still exhaust your options. So I think Michigan needs to make it legal. They need to follow the suit of other states. I think they need to put parameters behind it.
Because they have that with dogs, don't they? Like what are the rules with dogs?
Pretty much nothing. You gotta fill out a form. You fill out a form, and they give you a license that's valid for 2 years. And then whenever I go on a track, I have to get a picture of your hunting license, and I text that into the DNR site, DNR hotline. And then all I got to do is put my name and phone number in your tag, and they'll say track open. And then you go do whatever you do. Hopefully you recover a deer. And then when it's done, I text in and say close track for leave and break. And that's it. They don't ask county. They don't ask any information. They just want to know when you're tracking. Nothing. Which is insane to me. I don't know why they have us do it if they're not gathering any information besides people. I mean, I don't think they're trying to hunt down people that aren't reporting their deer. Like, I don't see a benefit in it if they're not going to use.
Is that new? Is that a newer rule?
Last couple of years.
Okay, so fairly new. Probably at the same time that they rolled out the e-license for their app, their platform,
in the registration of the deer.
Yeah.
Yep. I think this is year 2. It might be year 3. Don't quote me on it. But last year they made it really difficult. I couldn't figure out how to do it with my life depended on it. So yeah, being transparent. But this year figured it out. I emailed in and I called the DNR and said, this needs to be figured out. Like how at first they had you fill out an online form and fill it out twice per track, one to start it and one to end it.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I'm not. Like, it's so much information too. I needed driver's license number or something like that. I needed tags. I needed everything. I'm like, I don't have, especially the other trackers who were super busy. You don't have time to go on and do all that.
Yeah.
So they did finally let me know. So, you can actually call or you can text this hotline. I said, perfect. I can do that all day long. That's simple. So we've been doing that all year.
So do you know other dog trackers in like states that drones are legal in?
I followed a couple. I don't know any personally. I follow a couple. I follow some guys in Kansas. Because I know you can't use a drone in Kansas, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
guess
no,
I'm
I
just
don't.
curious if like once, like Ohio, for a perfect example, is like there's drones around every single corner in Ohio. So I'm just wondering like what that does to, you know, at the end of the day, this is a market, this is a business for you guys. So like I'm just wondering how bad it's affected that or hit that.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I can't speak on it because it's not legal here.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's people still doing it. It's a resource. People do it all around the state. Um, but it's not one that I've dealt with the competition. But also, on the other hand, is as soon as they make it legal, I'm the one who's got both.
Yeah.
You know, I'm ready to run and gun, and I think that's going to be your most valuable person, not just myself, but someone who has a good dog or dogs, and has the capability and knowledge to be able to fly a thermal drone and know where to go, where to check, you know, be efficient with one of those too, because then not many deer are going to make it out without at least an answer.
Yeah. And I think that's that's the mind blowing part about this is like, why not open up every option?
Well, I think in I'm not trying to like defend the state, but in the state's defense, I think as they first hit the market, you know, you saw guys sending them up, finding a deer in their bed, go out there and they put a stalk on the deer, they killed it. And so their quick Band-Aid for it was no, don't fly a drone during deer season and no thermal drones and blah, blah, blah. And that's how they just slapped it on there. And they're just not taking the time to research and figure out and write the law that needs to be written that, you know, prohibits you from flying a drone and locating a deer prior to killing it. It's just like, I think there's so much gray area to know whether or not that, like, how do you know that this isn't the first time you've spot this deer and now you're going to go in there and kill this deer versus, hey, this is a drone, this is a recovery. And I think just making some rules and regulations around it. And then if you, I would say, I would think that a simple solution for it is like he was saying, like the tracking type thing for the dogs is that, you know, you can't go recover your deer with a thermal as an individual. Like I know people would hate that, but if you used a licensed registered individual to come do it, now it makes it a lot simpler because it's like this individual or these individuals who have this license to be able to do this must be present to go do that. And so it doesn't just open it up for everybody to send their thermal drone up every time they stick something. I get it. Some guys would be very frustrated that they have a thermal drone and they can't just go find their own deer. Yeah. I'm just saying that's one thought that I've come up with that's like trying to get it so it's legal.
I can respect that in the beginning 100%, yeah. But now you look at other states that it's been legal for 3 years, going into 4 years, possibly. Like it's proven that like it does a lot of good. So
yeah. Like, I'm not denying it.
How dare you stick up for that?
I'm just go Michigan, yay! Yeah, right.
Like all they got to do is put parameters behind it.
Right. Yeah.
It's like you're saying, like, isn't it Indiana or Illinois? You can't hunt that property for 24 hours or within the same calendar day. I heard that. I don't know if that's true.
I think Ohio's actually looking at doing that too, and potentially that's Indiana. I think Illinois deer recovery is not legal with the drone.
Okay, so it's probably Indiana. I heard someone tell me, it's hearsay, but someone say that then if you fly up a thermal and you look for it, then you cannot legally hunt that property for 24 hours.
Perfect solution.
Yeah. I think that's simple. It's just like it's like in Alaska.
I was gonna say, you fly in a plane in Alaska, you wait 24 hours and then you can go hunting.
Exactly. I think that's the best way to do it. You have registered pilots who have licenses to do it. You do some kind of reporting, just like with a dog. Mm-hmm. And even if pilots had to pay a premium every year, the state gets their cut, right? You end up paying $100. You end up paying a couple $100 for a drone recovery certificate, and then the state gets their money.
They talked about doing a baiting certificate this year. I forgot about that. You know what I mean? Like
$15.
Yeah, I was like, let me get the $500 one so I can put a truckload out. You know, like seriously.
Yeah. But still, there's.
But that's where you're right, Lee. Like trying to defend that, like the time duration, that is unexcusable that they haven't done something yet. But that is the government at its finest.
Yeah. Well, cool. I appreciate your time. I know you got to go, and we got to go. We got to jump out in the woods. I'm sure you'll probably be on another track tonight with how nice of a night
I got
it
one
is.
ready to go.
Oh yeah,
As we
cool.
were talking, someone called me and said, "Yep, let's give it a shot."
No,
So,
well, good luck. Send me some pictures,
Yeah.
and yeah, look forward to talking to you again, man.
heck yeah, I appreciate you having me. You know,
Yeah.
this is very cool.
Yeah, give
I'm
a
excited.
little shout out to yourself a sec. Where can people, if you're listening in northern area of Michigan, how to get a hold of you for a dog?
Yeah, so Taylor Ardis, anything, you can put my number in the show notes or anything if you want to. You can catch me on Facebook, send me a text, give me a call, and then hopefully tune into my podcast series.
Yeah,
Awesome.
on the Fall podcast.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, cool. I've listened to one episode. It's cool. And it's a raw, like it's like you're on the track with them. It's really cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Taylor, it was awesome meeting you, man. Thanks so much for being here, man.
It's great to meet you, Jay.
All right, man.